Hey, what's going on, YouTube? This is your certified life and relationship coach, Coach Court. And in today's video, I want to talk to you about how to have a healthy relationship with the dismissive avoidant. Thank you for sticking around. If this is your first time viewing me, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel by clicking that subscribe button and ringing that little bell so you're notified for the newest content. I did another video on my channel called 5 Characteristics of a Dismissive Avoidant. And in that video, I talked about some of the things that you want to understand about a dismissive avoidant, how they operate, how they view love, what is healthy love to them. So I wanted to follow up on that video and just give you a few more tips on how to have a healthy relationship with the dismissive. But before I get into that, if you want my help personally, you want email coaching, reach out to me on my website, www.fruitfulseeds.com. Send me an email no longer than 2 to 3 paragraphs long, no longer than 500 words, as emails get really long and hard to respond to. The first thing you want to understand about the dismissive avoidant is they value their space and their autonomy. If you were to try to get too close to them, engulf them, get clingy, get needy, they're going to start to withdraw and they're going to start to back out of the attachment and the bond that you guys were forming. One of the biggest fears of a dismissive avoidant is losing their identity, not being able to be who they are and be that individual that they are so comfortable with, because they have put a lot of work in self-reliance that they don't see it necessary to rely on other people. So when they feel like you're getting too close, you're trying to help them, which is what usually what people are trying to do. They're only trying to help. You're trying to help them do things differently and more efficiently. They'll get a little bit annoyed and start to withdraw because they don't feel like your help is needed, especially when they don't ask you for it. This can go in many different ways. When you talk about giving them space, their view of quality time is different from other people. Their view of quality time is the time that they ask you for, the time that they set up dates with you or set up activities with you for. But when you're just hanging around a house and you start to get a little bit clingy and needy and wanting their attention while they're just kind of sitting and just browsing their phone or just hanging out, they'll start to get annoyed because they don't need that constant connection like somebody like the anxious-preoccupied would need, which is unhealthy, by the way. It's unhealthy for both sides. One to need too much and one to need too little. When that starts to happen, they'll start to lose trust in you and trust in themselves as to how they pick their spouses. They'll view you as somebody who is just like all the other people. And I like to use the example of the turtle. They'll start to withdraw. Like a turtle in its shell, it's hard work to get them out of their comfort zone and to get them to put their trust in you by letting their walls down. So just like a turtle, if a turtle feels danger, it'll stick its head back in its shell. But when it's comfortable with the surroundings, it'll stick its head back out, peek around, and maybe start to walk around and even eat. That's just, if you're a severely dismissive avoidant person, there's a grading scale, there's a slide scale. You know, you can be 98, 95, 50% dismissive avoidant. But if you're a high level of avoidant, you know, your tolerance for people violating your trust is very slim. So if you were to be betrayed, or you felt like your trust was broken, or somebody's getting too close to you, you'll poke that head back in, and it'll take a lot of work to get you back out, because you rely on yourself. You have everything that you need. They have everything that, I'm talking to you, dismissive avoidant. You have everything that you need. The next thing you want to do is to keep your emotions in check. If you are dating a dismissive avoidant, it's important that you keep your emotions in check, because talking about deeply emotional things all the time, it gets draining and it gets overwhelming for the dismissive avoidant. And what they'll do is they'll start to withdraw, just like when you don't give them space. If you are overly emotional and you're showing, that's a sign of weakness to them, because they don't show emotion because they feel it's a sign of weakness. when they show emotion, it's because they're being vulnerable in their eyes. And too much vulnerability to them is a scary thing, because back when their attachment style was forming, or the events that happened to activate this attachment style, it was because of that. They were vulnerable to somebody, maybe a primary caregiver or an ex-girlfriend, a boyfriend. And when you show those signs of the same thing that happened to them back then, it activates and it triggers their deactivating strategies. Keep your emotions in check, because if you don't, they'll start to withdraw. And it's important for them to come to you, or you to talk about, I'll get in this later, you to talk to them about those issues at a more appropriate time, and at a time where things have either cooled off, or a time that you both mutually agree on. Now, this next one is a pretty obvious one. Avoid criticism. Nobody likes criticism. When you attack somebody, they're going to automatically put up their defenses. They're going to automatically check out of the conversation and feel like they don't want to deal with it. So it's important to remember and be mindful about the criticism. But it's extra painful for a dismissive avoidant, because when they get criticized, it hurts them to their core, because deep down they feel like they're not good enough, and they're inadequate, and they're not worthy of love. So when somebody comes along and criticizes them, even if it is constructive criticism, they'll take it and it'll scar them, and it'll make them feel very hurt and very inadequate. They already feel it in the first place. So when somebody comes along and points that out, whether it be anything like, the way they load the dishwasher, or the way that they respond to your love, they're going to take that as a very heavy burden, and they're going to withdraw, and it's going to be unhealthy. The last thing I want you guys to understand about the dismissive avoidant is you have to make them resolve issues. They don't like talking about deep, heartfelt things all day long and often. They will do it. The people who are becoming more of a secure attacher and more healthy in their ways of loving, they understand that communication is key. So you have to resolve issues with them. The ones who don't understand it, aren't in the self-development mindset, they won't resolve issues. They'll just let things get swept under the rug, and then you'll let them fester. You sweep something under the rug long enough, it's going to become the elephant in the room after a while. So you want to make sure that you resolve those issues with them. Come back to the table when everybody is cooled off and they're able to be more level-headed and clear-minded. So don't allow them to let things go for too long, because they will. If you send them a text message, about something that you have a concern with, they may ignore you for a day or two, and then come back with something different, come back with a whole different topic. And this is just something that that's one of their deactivating strategies. They'll check out from that conversation or that line of thinking, because A, they don't want to deal with it, and B, it's just really painful to have to think about. They equate, closeness and intimacy with pain. Pain and intimacy in the past was what molded this attachment style. So make sure that you resolve issues when you guys are able to. So if you found this video of any value, please like, comment, and share. If you want my help personally, reach out to me on my website, www.fruitfulseeds, with a Z at the end.com, or check my other social media accounts. Instagram is I am Coach Court, Twitter Coach Court 2, and Facebook I am Coach Court. Thank you guys, and I will talk to you soon.